We're now getting some breaking news on the broadcast. CNN-News18 decodes Taliban's strategy to block water for Pakistan. Top Taliban sources are suggesting that Pakistan is using air power to attack their civilians, and then that is why they see water as their only non-military weapon against Pakistan's interference in its internal affairs. For decades, ISI has funded and armed the ISIS factions to control Kabul, and this blocking or diverting water gives Kabul a strategic handle to counter Pakistan's deep state manipulation. Afghanistan is using sovereign rights over its own rivers like Helmand, Kabul, Kunar, that originate in Afghan mountains but irrigate Pakistani farmlands. Dams and reservoirs like Kamal Khan and Shatut are part of a broader plan to achieve hydro-economic independence. My colleague Anand Narasimhan is joining us to offer more perspective on this big story that we track. Anand, this volatility continues, and now this bid to stop water for Pakistan, this is going to dent Pakistan further, considering the IWT being kept in abeyance is already hampering Pakistan, and now this coming in from Afghanistan.
Well, the worries mount for Pakistan. Good afternoon, Griha, and to our viewers. Yes, the Indus Water Treaty has been kept in abeyance, and Bharat is now going to use water to irrigate its lands to its full capacity, and also not sharing water data that's being released, except in cases of high floods where there is some advance warning that is issued. And the Pakistanis have felt the brunt of it with the floods this time around and what's happened. And that's been the biggest worry for the Pakistanis. Aside of the fight and Op Sindoor, etc., notwithstanding, holding IWT in abeyance has been the Pakistanis' biggest concern. But now the Afghans are turning around and saying that there are rivers that originate from the Afghan mountains, which then go into Pakistan and irrigate large swaths of Pakistani lands, which now they are going to turn around and say that if you are going to throw Afghan refugees and you're going to send them back here, if you're going to continue to try and use our lands to try and train your jihadis and also come and conduct strikes into our lands, and you're going to use various entities of your deep state is going to continue to use its machinations here using ISIS and some other terror groups to try and keep the Taliban regime on its toes or to weaken the Afghan growth story, then we are also going to now work towards our interests. Most importantly, if these dams have to be commissioned, it's going to take some time, but the intent is very clear. The Afghans want to break away from the Pakistani stranglehold, and what we are given to understand via our Security Affairs editor Manoj Kumar Gupta is that they have the tacit backing of the Iranians and the Chinese also as they make this move. And that's something which the Pakistanis will now have to consider, because drawing up the cudgels against the Afghans and intensifying this fight is only going to create multiple problems for them going forward. Because if these waters somewhere are rerouted, or if they are blocked, or even if there is a 10 to 15% drop in the amount of water that flows into Pakistan, that means there will be huge swaths of land in Pakistan which will not be irrigated, and these lands largely are controlled by landlords who are also part of the Pakistani army. So it's largely this entire Punjabi Pakistani lot who are also former army generals or army top leaders or current, who hold these huge land holdings, who are whole landowners, and that's going to again trigger another round of this entire food scarcity in Pakistan, where we are seeing inflation already touch about 38%.
Right. Also, Anand, considering this is a move that is coming from Afghanistan, you mentioned about how they are also getting assistance from the Chinese. Is this going to further dent Pakistan's chances, their licensing abilities with China? Because so far there was the CPEC that's also in trouble. Afghanistan or BLA also has a lot to do with that. And now this assistance that's coming in from China, what does this mean largely for Pakistan now?
Well, see, the BLA is the Baloch Liberation Army. They've got nothing to do with Afghanistan, but the Baloch will now find support from other insurgent groups within Pakistan. So it is dealing with a huge civilian insurgency issue, because the Tehrik-e-Taliban Pakistan are now highly active in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa. That's where the tribals believe that the Afghan lands and the Pakistani lands are currently being separated by that so-called Durand line. They don't recognize it. And increasingly, this kind of an attitude from the Pakistani Pakistani military, where it is bombing tribal villages, it's killing innocents, is only going to get these largely splintered tribal groups which they continue to war among themselves on ego and in terms of supremacy, etc. They may just now join issue and band together to form a huge rebellion or a guerrilla outfit, which could become a huge tension worry for the Pakistani military and the Pakistani establishment. But here with the Afghans, when it comes to water, and if they block these waters, some very, very important lands and areas in Jacobabad and also further down into the Pakistani Punjab, part of Punjab, in Pakistan, there also large lands will be affected. There will also, if the Afghans believe that the Pakistanis are not allowing them to prosper economically, they have also in the last 4 years not allowed them to commission hydroelectric projects which could give a certain level of economic independence to the Afghans. All of this is something that the Afghans now believe that the Pakistanis want to use Afghanistan as their own dump yard, for which the Chinese and the Iranians are now helping them, because the Iranians have, in that Herat province of Afghanistan, there is a significant Shia presence, and the Iranians would want to extend their sphere of influence. They have the tacit backing of the Russians, who would use Iran to try and counter any American presence there. The Chinese only want to serve their interests. They don't care about Pakistan or Afghanistan. Whichever entity suits their interests, ensures their project of connecting the entire Gwadar port to all the way up to Xinjiang and further into mainland China, that entire route is completed. They are able to do that. They will go ahead. If they have to do a detour of the CPEC, move it away from Pakistani lands because it's stuck for the last 5 to 6 years and they've sunk billions there, they will do it. And that's why the Chinese have had enough of the Pakistani machinations, and they are also going to be very, very careful in dealing with the Pakistanis. If they believe the Afghans are a better entity to deal with, then perhaps they will invest there.
Right. Anand, thank you so much for that perspective. So the line has been drawn. Afghanistan, in fact, choosing to stop securing water for Afghan agriculture and power before it flows into Pakistan. A big development that we continue to track here on CNN News.